We've all been there, right? You have this perfect 4K source, this amazing projector, but they're, I don't know, 80 feet apart.
Oh, yeah.
You plug in a long HDMI cable and nothing. Or worse, you get those awful sparkles.
You get dropouts or just a dead screen. It's the physics of copper. Standard HDMI cables, they just can't handle that kind of run. They just choke.
Which is exactly why today we're doing a deep dive on a specific workaround. The Kramer PT-580T. It's this tiny little transmitter that, well, it claims to solve this exact problem.
And without making you run fiber, which is the key.
So what is it actually doing?
It's basically a bridge. Its entire job is to take your HDMI input, convert it, and then send it out over something called HDBaseT.
And HDBaseT, that's the magic word here. We see it on spec sheets all the time.
We do.
But practically, it means we can use the CKT cables, the standard network wiring that's probably already in the walls.
Exactly. The PT-580T modulates that really heavy bandwidth-hungry HDMI signal so it can travel over what is essentially just internet cabling.
So it's more than just a booster then?
Oh, much more. It's actively managing the data integrity over that entire distance.
Okay, let's talk about that distance because the specs are pretty specific. I'm looking at the data sheet and it says 4K at 60 hertz, but with a catch, 4.2.0.
And that distinction is vital. It means it's compressing the color information just a tiny bit to fit it down the pipe.
But in return for that little trade-off, you get range.
A lot of range. With that setting, this unit will push the signal up to 40 meters. That's about 130 feet.
Which for most video content or a PowerPoint, you're never going to notice that color compression.
Never. And if you drop the resolution down to, say, 1080p, the range just jumps.
Jumps how much?
You nearly double it. You can hit 70 meters, which is 230 feet. So it's really about balancing the resolution you need against the distance you have to cover.
And I see it supports HDCP 2.2. That feels standard now, but it's absolutely critical, right?
It's a deal breaker if it's not there. If you're trying to push Netflix or a Blu-ray and the transmitter isn't compliant, the handshake fails.
And your screen just goes blank.
You get that content not authorized error. This makes sure that whole chain stays secure.
Okay, so video is covered. What about audio? Are we losing something there to get that distance?
Not at all. It's a full pass-through for up to 32 channels of uncompressed digital stereo. So your Dolby True HD DTS HD.
If the source sends it, it gets there.
It gets there totally intact.
That brings me to a feature Kramer calls intelligent EDID processing. EDID Pro. Honestly, it sounds a bit like marketing fluff.
It really doesn't, and I'll tell you why. In my experience, EDID issues are the #1 cause of weird problems.
Right, when the source doesn't know what the display is.
Exactly. EDID is that little piece of data that says, hey, I'm a 4K TV. But that data can get corrupted over long cable runs. So the source just gives up or defaults to like 640 by 480.
So this device
captures that profile from the display and it just locks it in. It forces the source to send the right signal, so plug and play actually works.
Okay, that's actually pretty smart. Now, physically, this is one of their Pico tools.
Yeah, it's tiny, like the size of a deck of cards. But the important thing is that it's a solid block of aluminum and fanless.
Which means it's silent. That is a huge deal if this is getting mounted under a conference table or behind a display.
And it runs cool enough that you can just tuck it away. You can even rack mount 4 of them side by side in a single one-use space. So it scales really well.
Plus, and this sounds minor, but it has that little status LED on the front.
That little light is a lifesaver. When you're troubleshooting a black screen, just knowing the dock has power and is seeing a signal saves so much time.
It's one of those things that separates pro gear from the consumer stuff.
It really is.
And pro gear usually means a pro price tag. But this thing is sitting around, what, 200, 250?
Right around there. Which, I mean, when you compare that to the cost of running a long, active optical HDMI cable or actually pulling fiber, it's a bargain.
So really, the PT-580T just lets you put your gear where it makes sense, not just where the cable's long enough to reach.
It's freedom of design, all while keeping the signal quality perfect.
So it's squeezing every last drop of performance out of plain old copper wire. Which kind of brings up a bigger question for me.
Go on.
We're pushing 4K bandwidth over 130 feet of twisted copper with these incredibly complex algorithms. It works, but are we hitting the physical limit here?
That's the billion-dollar question for AV infrastructure, isn't it? Are we seeing the absolute peak of what copper can do, or will clever software and algorithms keep extending its life right as we think we all need to switch to fiber?
Something to think about. That's our deep dive. Thanks for listening.